It's no secret that I love dolls. Everything about them to me is just like a piece of art. From the body types to the hair types, the faces that are painted on them, the way they look and their designs all together, it truly is something beautiful. It's a three-dimensional work of art that exists on a shelf or exists for your happiness. And I want to personally make some myself. So hi everyone, I'm Ward and welcome to my channel Wardrawsalot, and this week we're going to be repainting this face and hopefully getting to understand doll repaints and doll customization. I bought like a cheap bunch online of just a bunch of dolls that nobody wanted for the sole purpose of hopefully getting to know how to customize them. I didn't want to start off with a doll that I really liked and then messed it up, so I'm just using some cheapy dolls as a result. I'm gonna do to the doll on the left what I did to the doll on the right, which is remove the face paint basically from it, and I'm using 100% acetone. Apparently you can use nail polish remover just as long as it has acetone in it. I used 100% acetone to make my life significantly easier. After the acetone wash, the face is nice and clean. There are no, little extra paints on it or whatever. I then go ahead and take the doll and wrap its hair up within a piece of material. I personally used a sock. I used some socks that I had already been using to sew with and make little things for the dolls. So I want to try and do two dolls today. Already the biggest mistake I've ever made, and you'll see that later on. So both dolls, I'm inspecting them to make sure that everything is pinned down around the hair, so whatever I use doesn't get in the hair, along with the fact that the face is clean and ready to go. The next step is super important. Normally you cannot use a watercolor pencil on the face of a doll unless you have something to bind the watercolor pencil to the plastic. So we're going to spray the dolls down with this right here, which is Mr. Super Clear UV Flat, and we're going to let them dry about 30 minutes in between each coat. Apparently you're supposed to do at least 2 to 3 coats on each doll before you go ahead and paint on them, just so this way there's enough of a grip for the material to grip onto the plastic. Now, like I said, I've never done... Actually, did I say it? Okay, now I'm gonna say it. I've never done a repaint of a doll face or anything of the sort, customizing them in any way. So, I had to do a shit ton of research. I'm talking about video after video after video of people doing doll customizations, and just from the videos alone, I got exactly how much work it is, and it is a lot. A lot of work. So, usually what the steps consists of is, removing the face paint, spraying it down with Mr. Super Clear, then slowly, really slowly, building the pigment up on the face of the doll. The reason why is because this is plastic after all, and it's difficult for something like color pencil to show up on these dolls. So it's going to be a lot of back and forth and a lot of doing as much pigment pressing as you can onto the face or onto the body. What a lot of people do first, from what I've seen, is they kind of pastel the body and the face down first. The pastels are to help add blushers or contour to the doll, so this way it looks I guess aesthetically pleasing. It's not just a flat surface of a body, because the human body is it's got pigmentation in other areas. Some people have naturally red cheeks, or hyperpigmented in some spots, where some spots are darker and even some spots are lighter. So skin has these nice variations. So I'm guessing it's to help imitate the fact that these dolls would have some kind of skin-like texture. So they take the pastels and then they kind of do that first, then they build up the layers of the face onto the doll. Now, something I probably should have done was make a little plan of what I wanted the dolls to look like, because I just kind of went in free-handed, which is, dumb on my part. So next time I do a doll face, I'll definitely go in with a plan. But like I said earlier, this was more of a practice or slash first time going into it. So I really just wanted to experiment and see what was going on, and if I could even do it right in the first place. On top of all that, I wanted to try 2 different methods with the doll customization, because there are different ways that you can approach it. It makes sense that there are a lot of different ways to approach this kind of thing, because there are many people who customize dolls, and a lot of them, even here on YouTube, have their own little methods. Sometimes a lot of these steps can be rooted in the same idea, like using a kind of varnish or pastels or something like that, but everybody kind of does it their own certain way. And that's something that I've noticed, that I, over time with practice and doing this a lot more, will find my own way on how to do things. After I went ahead and did the first layer of their face, I sprayed them both down with, again, Mr. Super Clear. 2 to 3 coats is what you're supposed to do. However, I forgot it was 2 to 3 coats when I was doing them, so, you know, I did like 1 coat in between them. Not good. You're supposed to do at least a few coats because you need something to help you build up the pigment, which is why when I was like doing them, I was like, why isn't the pigment building up like I see in the videos? It's because I didn't do one of the most crucial steps correctly, and henceforth, there you go. So one of the things that I came by when I was watching like Delightful's videos, they're a doll customizer here on YouTube. I saw in one video they had like 2 different techniques for dolls. One is like the Mr. Super Clear, the soft pastels, watercolor pencils, and gouache, which is kind of what I'm doing with this doll on the screen right here. I'm mostly focusing on the watercolor pencils and stuff. The second doll, I kind of wanted to try the other version, which was matte varnish, acrylics, and airbrush, except, you know, I didn't do matte varnish. I did Mr. Super Clear. I did the acrylics, but I don't got no airbrush, so so I did pastels. So basically you could just say I did the technique on the left, but the only thing different is instead of watercolor pencils, I did acrylics. Let me tell you guys, if you're gonna do this, do 1 doll at a time, alright? A lot of the time, I'm this person who bites off more than they can chew, and man, I was chewing for a while here. I was suffering because there was like so much to do with these dolls, because it's like you're going in to this kind of project, even if it's just repainting, and it's going to take you hours. It's going to take you hours and hours on end to do this. Like 1 doll, which was the doll you just saw on the screen, that one took me about 8 hours to do for the face, and that's because, remember, after you build up a layer, you have to spray it down with Mr. Super Clear, then you gotta wait a half hour afterwards, or sometimes an hour if you're spraying it down correctly, because remember, I only did 1 coat after the half hour. You're supposed to do 2 to 3, so an hour in between each coat, and then you come back and forth and you build up more pigment. So this is a project where obviously it takes a lot of time to do, and you know, my dumbass took 2 dolls and was like, I got it. I don't got it. I don't got it. I don't got it. In fact, the acrylic version of this doll right here, this shit pissed me off, alright? There's so much buildup you have to do with acrylics, because you have to water them down. You can't go in with no thick-ass acrylics on the face of the doll. The paint is going to start chipping. So I had to water down the paint and then go back and forth 157 times, okay? And I already don't got any patience on the regular. I'm talking about on a normal, everyday basis when it comes to drawing and art, because I just don't have that in me. I just like to see the finished thing there. I'm like, yay, it's done, yippee, and then I'm happy that it's done. This, on the other hand, oh man, this is definitely something that's gonna humble the shit out of me when it comes to waiting. Especially when it came to the painting part. The soft pastels and the watercolor pencils, I think I can manage, right? I already am not that good with acrylics on a normal basis when just painting on like canvases or in sketchbooks or whatever. So that I already was like, I don't know, bro, it's not looking very promising. But I was like, let's give it a shot anyway, you know? Why not try it? And ultimately, I learned a very huge lesson here today, which is never try acrylics on a doll face again, because it's not for me. I wasn't built for that, alright? Everybody was built for something different, and I was just not built for this. Eventually, I got really fed up. I started throwing the doll everywhere. I was like, man, fuck this. I don't want to do this anymore. It just aggravated me so much. I was like, forget that doll. Let's just go back to the other doll. This doll, I felt like definitely had a little bit more promise to it. I had more control, okay? With paintbrushes, I don't really have much control, and they're really, really thin brushes on top of that, so I was like, you know what? It's just going to be more difficult. At least with the color pencil, I work with pencils all the time, so I'm not going to feel like I'm gonna have as much of a hard time with it, so this method felt like the go-to method for me. The problem I feel with myself so far when doing this is symmetry. I lack a lot of symmetry when it comes to making doll faces, so the eyes are a little wonky. The lips are kind of wonky too, I won't lie. It looks like a little, like an awkward, like, half-baked smile on her. But I don't think they came out too bad. I do like the gradient on the lips, the outer edge being darker, and then in the middle it's lighter, so it gives it some kind of dimension. I feel like that's good. I did try and go in with acrylic, again, a bad idea to create more of a white of the eye, but now you just kind of lose the catch lights that are supposed to be on the eye, or like the equivalent of the white gel pen dot, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of messed that up. I did put like this super thick gloss on top. Next time I won't do it on the eyes. I thought if I did it on the eyes it would look, you know, cute, but it's kind of hard to see the eyes of the doll though. As a result, on the lips I don't think it came out bad. She's giving me very bimbo vibes and I love it because I love the whole bimbo look. So overall the doll didn't come out absolutely awful. It did come out pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie. And I'm sorry it wasn't better off the bat, but I do like how she looks and hopefully I'll get to do some more in the future. So yeah, thanks for watching and remember I love you. Bye!